Hey everybody, it's Profpowerline, and welcome to my first ever Pokemon competitive battle video. So, quick story, this won't only take a moment. A few months back, end of February, beginning of March, I attended Anime Land with Zabi 2014. And while I was there, I competed in a Pokemon tournament. And I had so much fun. I lost in round 2, but I had so much fun. And I've just totally fallen in love with competitive Pokemon since then, so I decided I'm going to start adding them to my channel. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And here we are. Pretty cool, right? So yeah. My plan for these is what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a Pokemon. I'm going to take a Pokemon, talk about why I like it, why I use it, or why I like it, but same thing. How I use it, how other people use it, checks and counters, and then finally show you a battle where it just annihilates or does whatever it is it's supposed to do and does it beautifully. And for this purpose, I think the best Pokemon to start off with is Quagsire. Now, Quagsire is kind of funny because for a long time, I straight up hated Quagsire for two simple reasons. First, he had a quad weakness, and I thought for a long time that just made the Pokemon totally unusable. And I still have that issue occasionally. And the other reason, which I think is much funnier, is that he wasn't Wooper. And I hated him because he wasn't Wooper. Because in my mind, Wooper was the greatest thing ever. But I've since learned to love him, his little derpy little eyes and his smile. He's just a laid-back, happy guy, and I can really respect and relate to that. So, I've totally fallen in love with Quagsire. I love this fool. So yeah, let's just go ahead and talk about how I run my Quagsire. On my Quagsire, I run Leftovers, which I know is the easy choice. It's what you do when you really don't know what else to do. But it really works well with Quagsire strategy. There are a few other options, but I think this is the best one personally. So I go with that. For his ability, if it were double battles, I might consider Water Absorb. But otherwise, and maybe even then, Unaware is the only way to go. Unaware is a phenomenal ability. It's going to totally negate any of your opponent's stat changes to attack and defense, special attack and special defense, which is just phenomenal. Say your opponent's been got 2 Sword Dances off on a Talonflame while you weren't paying attention. Well, those Sword Dances are totally out of the picture, and it's just going to be a normal Talonflame up against your boy Quagsire. Got a stacked Blissey for some ridiculous reason? Not a problem. Quagsire can handle it, and Blissey was a poor example, but you get my point. So yeah, Unaware is just totally broken. I love that ability so much. Fits Quagsire perfectly. Let's move on to moves. Stockpile is the only way to go, if you ask me. Because it raises both it raises special defense and defense, which is great. Limited 3 times. Don't care for that, but I'll come back to it. Then I like to go Recover because it's Recover. It's kind of obvious. Leftover is not going to do all the work you need to do. Got to keep your tanks alive. Recover does that beautifully. Plus, it's great for stall tactics. Then for his attacks, this is where it gets a little bit weird. Earthquake, Power Punch. I know this is a bit odd, and not at all what most people are going to tell you to do, but I like Earthquake because, obviously, Earthquake, 100 power, 100 accuracy, 16 power points, stab with his ground typing. It's beautiful. It's a must-have on pretty much every team and every physical attacker in the metagame. You just need Earthquake. Power Punch is great because Quagsire does not have very good very good attack power, and Power Punch is going to fix that. Plus, if you're stalling or just enduring something, you really need that hitting power. And eventually your Quagsire can start one-shotting stuff if you got enough time on your hands, which believe me, you will. So, yeah, it's unorthodox, but it works. And I'll come back to an issue with this strategy later, but for now, let's move on to stats. My personal favorite battle... Excuse me. My personal battling style is all about keeping your Pokemon healthy, alive, and regenerating. So I like to have a lot of HP. Then for this guy, I'm going to balance out defense and special defense as much as I can. Put the boosting nature in defense. And the hindering attribute you can put in pretty much anything. I like to put it in special attack, but if you're running a Trick Room user, speed might be a better idea. And if you're running a Trick Room user, you probably don't want the speed IV either. But So Impish or Relaxed. I personally have Impish. I think my in-game Quagsire, which is what I'm describing here, has Relaxed. So I'm just going to leave it on that. So yeah, that's my Quagsire. He's got decent defenses on either end. Great HP. Attack is... It's bad, but it's okay because he can power that up. And he's got time on his hands, so it's not really an issue. And we don't care about special attack or defense. Or special attack. We don't care about special attack or speed. So yeah, that's it. My Quagsire is named Bowie. I get this name because of his kind of just carefree personality and ability, as well as his Pokedex saying he's so oblivious that he bumps into the hulls of boats. So I think it's a really super clever nickname as I pat myself on the back a little bit. Also, my Quagsire is a male. So yeah, there you go. This is my boy Bowie, my Quagsire, my homebro. He has won me so many fights, it's not even funny. I've come back 5-1 because of Quagsire here. He is just unbelievably epic. So now that I'm done gushing about my Quagsire, let's talk about a few alternative strategies, then I'll get into checks and counters. So if you go to Smogon and talk about running a Quagsire, they'll tell you Stockpile is not a good idea, and they'll go with Encore, and instead of Power Punch, Scald. Speaking of, I do frequently consult Smogon, and I am on their forums sometimes, but I don't actually care for battling by their rules for various reasons. I just prefer the more freestyle. So forgive me for that if you're on Smogon or whatever, but I just kind of I'm not about that life. So yeah, anyway, they're cool, but not how I roll. But yeah, so for this strategy, I hate Encore. I hate it. I don't have any use for it. It's great for shutting down stuff, and I totally admit to its strategic value, but I don't think it's worth a move slot. I just don't. I don't like Encore. I'm sorry, I don't. Scald. Scald is a brilliant move. I love Scald beyond all reason. Every water type I have, minus like 2, runs Scald on it. I love Scald. It burns opponents for 30% damage. Crazy attack power. It's going to have stab on Quagsire. But with his low special attack, I just don't think it's a really solid move. So, no, I don't think so. Now, there is one other strategy that you can use for Quagsire. It's going to be straight up mean, and that is if you go Toxic Infestation or Infestation Yawn. Now, this strategy is brilliant and mean at the exact same time. If you Infestation your opponent lock him into battle, also doing essentially poison damage to him, then you Toxic or put him to sleep, and you just basically troll them to death. It's a really, really solid strategy. Let's put Stockpile in there, because Stockpile goes along with the strategy as well. But I don't like it just because I'm not about that troll life. I'm all about wearing my opponents down slowly and helplessly. But I just don't like to have my Pokemon not have any moves of their own or any offensive power. And I don't really count Infestation as offensive. I just don't. It's too weak. It's basically trying to kill someone with Rapid Spin. But it's solid, and it'll deal with so many massive threats, but I'm just not about that life. It's solid, don't get me wrong. I really do really love this strategy. But I just want to be able to trust in my own guns, so Power Punch Earthquake for me. Now that that's done, let's talk about checks and counters. First, counter, Grass type. Grass type anything will kill Quagsire. His quad weakness is still an issue. I wish it wasn't, but it is. He just can't deal with that grass. Rolling over on the lawn will kill this guy. I'm sorry. But if your opponent has Solar Beam, if they look like they might have Grass Knot, get Quagsire out of there. He can't win that fight. So, I'll say it again if you want me to. No grass types. So be aware of that. Anything that can lower defense and special defense is going to be an issue, because Stockpile can only raise your stats up to 3 times, which is not maximum, and it cannot raise them again if they're knocked down, because you only have a maximum of 3 uses before you switch out. So you can get your defenses up to 2.5, but if they knock them down, you cannot fix them. So that's an issue. Also, one hindrance to Unaware is it also, I believe, affects opponent's stat changes that are negative. So your opponent uses close combat, you're not going to hit him like he has lower defenses. You're going to hit him like he has normal defenses. So that's kind of an issue, but it's not really a big one. I don't personally find it to be a problem often enough to really ever deal with it or find it to be a problem at all. Anything with taunt is going to give you some trouble, really. Because just most of his moves are set-up moves, and he's not going to last long without his recovery and defenses. So if you can get him his defenses taken care of before a taunt user gets out there, then you're in good shape, but otherwise you could have a serious problem on your hands. So, yep, that's about it. As long as you keep him away from grass types, though, you really got a pretty good guarantee of outlasting even some of the trickier opponents. Oh yeah, and the master strategy with my Quagsire, maybe you noticed it already, but it's ghost types with levitate. I can't fight back. I just can't. So a Gengar on Mega Evolved is game over for Bowie. He can't fight back. For this reason, I always keep a teammate with a burning ability on them. So Will-O-Wisp or another Pokemon with Scald or something with toxic spikes. But otherwise, yeah, I'm pretty good. But Gengar, he's not about that Quagsire life. So be aware of that. It's okay if you can burn them or you have some area traps, but yeah, otherwise you have a serious issue. So that's a big problem. Not one I've run into too often, because not a ton of people run ghost types with levitate besides Gengar, and I usually can deal with Gengar before I send this guy out. So you'll usually be okay. But I've really rambled quite enough now. Let's go ahead and switch to a video where Quagsire just kind of rips everybody's faces off. Alright guys, so here we go with Bowie's premier battle. Or not premier, but one of the better battles I had with him. So I'm up against Be Smooth. Regrettably clever. He uses his Flygon. I go with my Cruel Tent. Yes, that is a Character reference. Go ahead and try and drop it with Ice Beam. Get his Pidgeot instead. Pidgeot hits me like a boss, but it's not quite enough. I go and finish it off. Good start to the battle for me. Cruel Tent's not really necessary to my strategy ever. He's just my lead. Flygon. I try to drop this thing with Ice Beam. Doesn't quite work out that way. Murkrow, I was hoping to nerf his attack stat, but he switches to Gardevoir. So I used a Calm Mind, hoping for a special hit. Severely underestimated this thing's attack power and died. Went ahead, and this is a little bit too loud, just knock it down one sec. Went to my Amaterasu. Tried to get a Nasty Plot in there to raise my attack power, knock out his Flygon. Failure! Lost my Amaterasu. I'm down 3 Pokemon, he's only down 1. Not good. I'm going to use my Espeon. Not good. Didn't work either. Go for that Breloom. Breloom manages to get a kill in, thankfully, with his Drain Punch. But that's about all that really works for me, because he sends back out Gardevoir with Mega Evolves, and no more Breloom. Then here comes the hero of our story, Bowie. Bowie immediately sets up that stockpile. Lost more than half my HP in the process, but stockpile's up now. I can start recovering. He does 41%. I recover 50 plus my leftovers, so I'm actually got a net gain in health, but I'm not really getting anywhere. My hope is to get my HP up high enough that I can afford a more stockpiles, but he starts using Calm Mind, and I love this because this happens all the time. They forget about Unaware, and they start raising their attack power trying to break through my wall, and I love this because it happens all the time. Seriously. You'd think on a competitive battle community this wouldn't happen as often as it does, but it just always happens. So I finish out my stockpile. He gets 6 stages of special attack, but I don't care. No, that's only 4. I get my stages mixed up. I start power punching. I know he quad resists, but I don't care because all I'm doing is setting up for my Earthquake, which is not quite powerful enough. Instead of finishing him off this turn, I go ahead and get a free recover in because I don't want his next Pokemon to surprise me. Finish him off with Power Punch, just because I want that extra stage of attack power. 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, not bad at all. Aggron comes out here, tries to show me Earthquake. I show him his quad weakness to Power Punch. Keep on raising that attack power. Even against the most powerful physical tank in the game, I think. I'm just cleaning house. He tries to protect, doesn't do him any good, really. And I just keep on punching because it doesn't matter to me. Quagsire is too powerful at this point, and he's just annihilating everything. So I get a little recover in there just because I like to have highest health as possible. Finish off that Aggron, max attack power because reasons, He sends out that Lucario, Aura Sphere. That's okay, that's fine. I'm good with this. Earthquake, in your face. Sends out his last-ditch attempt. And Infernape does close combat. I don't think I get the benefit of these nerf defenses, but you know what? Still don't care. Earthquake in your face. And he rage quits like the little noob that he is. I'm sorry, I'm not really that poor of a sport, but if you rage quit on me, I can't respect you. I'm sorry, I just can't. But yeah, this guy, Quagsire, took down his entire team, essentially. So, yeah, that's what a Quagsire can do when it's fully trained with the proper move sets. Highly recommend you train one. Guys, I am new to competitive battling, so if you have any recommendations, tips, tricks, things I missed, or alternative strategies, please send them to me. I will gladly give them a look over and maybe even use them or review them if they're good enough. That said, I hope you enjoyed my first competitive Pokemon video, and I'll see you all next time.